Good morning. Well, it's tarp setup time. I haven't done one of these videos for a while now, and I do like making them. So I thought I'll pop out and I'll try something new. It's not a new setup by any stretch of the imagination, but it's one that I personally have never done. So I just wanted to have a look to see how easy it was to do and see whether it's a viable proposition for a camp at some point. So let's walk through it stage by stage. You'll be learning it at the same time I am. Right, first things first, we get rid of these big lumps, because I'll be running a tarp through here. It'll be partially on the floor. I don't want to make holes underneath it. In fact, if I was doing this properly for a camp, I'd bring my old ground sheet and I'd have that on the floor with my tarp on top, just for a bit of extra protection. Tarp's no good to you with a hole in it. I've gone about waist high, tying off to the first tree. Be about the same height on the second tree, although I might have to adjust it slightly because the ground's not level, but I'll work that out as we're going along. So now the only connection point is going to be a halfway loop, halfway down one side. Literally just poke that through. Oh, look, you can see that on camera. Bird shit from the last outing. The joys of camping underneath trees where the birds roost. Keeping it simple. There we go. Low profile bivvy setup. Now, I've made a couple of changes to how I've seen it done. Most people make it a little lower and have the far corner pegged to the floor. I tried that first, and it makes an even lower shelter, but it really is such a small space. I like a little bit more room. So I've gone a little higher on the ridgeline. The corners won't touch the floor, so I've guyed them out. So they're going to keep all the rain off. It just means you might get a little bit of draft underneath, but if you set up correctly, the wind will be coming in the back anyway. And the other thing, it was a little bit saggy in the middle there, so I've made a slight modification to the back as well. But it's a decent size usable shelter. I will get in there, but only gently, because, you know, like I said, I don't want to make a hole in the tarp. Just to give you some sort of idea of the amount of space. Luckily in the pines here, the ground's a bit softer. There must be 2.5 meters in here, 7 foot. I'm 6 foot tall, 180 centimeters. Got loads of room, absolutely loads. Edge of the shelter's here, so I'd have to tuck this in slightly in case it rains, got it running back. But you could get well out of the wet if you need be, but still have it nice and open. I do like having a bit of an open shelter at night time, as long as the weather's okay. It's nice looking out on the, you know, the black of the woodland. Although your eyes do adjust, you can get to see things, and of course you get to see any, you know, animals that are creeping about, that sort of thing, or axe murderers. Bigfoot maybe. But yeah, you get to see more than being enclosed in a tent. I like tents, but I prefer this sort of thing really. Right, let me show you around the back, show you what I've done. Well, it was quite a straightforward setup. Through the centre loop, and then the next loop either side. Just done a prusik knot, pulled it out to tension that top edge. Come to the back, I've thrown half the tarp underneath. It's a 3 by 3 tarp, or 10 feet by 10 feet. So if that's the edge, this line here would actually be the midpoint, the centre fold, seam, depending on what type you've got, is here. And I've just pinned down 2 of the centre loops, the ridgeline sort of loops, the ones that are more or less square with the prusik knot ones I've done there. Then just pulled out the corners like wings really, pegged them down. Like I say, it was a little bit saggy there. I have got an extra loop on this one. I know not all tarps do have, but if you was to lay this tarp out flat, you've got 3 loops through the centre where you'd sort of ridgeline normally, and then 1 loop either side of that, so they're like a cross formation. I've just used one of those because it's, you know, sort of close to the middle of the setup, just to pull this out a little bit. It hasn't made a massive difference here, but it feels a lot different inside. It's probably pulled it out 30 centimetres, a foot, something like that, and it's made all the world of difference inside without doing much here. Could guy line it, but hey, I had a bungee, does the job. So yeah, a really simple setup. It took less than 5 minutes. It's very windproof. You can't feel any of the breeze when you're inside at all, but of course the breeze is coming this way, so works really, really nicely. It's actually a similar sort of shape if I'm using half of my German pup tent. The advantage of a pup tent, of course, in the winter I could have a fire quite close to the front and not worrying about melting it, where this it would be an issue. But overall, I like it. It's a nice simple setup, and of course so much lighter than the canvas. What I've brought today with this, my guy line and fittings and that sort of thing, I could put into the pocket of my smock. I wouldn't even need a bag really. Nice setup. So yeah, so basically from there down to there is half the tarp, 1.5 metres. Once I've pegged here, I just threw the other half underneath and spread it out. Made a ground sheet. Nice setup. Don't know why I haven't done it before really, but hey, there's so many you can do. There's a limit to how many you can use at any one time. And I've just never thought of doing this, but I just saw someone else doing it on a video. I thought, oh, well, I'll have a go at that. So that was a nice little project for this morning, because I've only got an hour or so sort of spare time. But yeah, that's what I come up with. A nice little bivvy shelter. Something different. And when the weather improves a little bit and I've got a bit more time, something I'm definitely going to use.